worth of lunar experiments right here on that canister. And as I'm jogging away, they fall off. Oh, God. Ruined all of the experiments. Everything's gone. Broken. Well, in 1/6 gravity, they weren't even dinged at all, much less broken. I was not going to tell them I did that, but I looked over the television camera, was pointed right at me, so I had to fess up. Here's John, he can run pretty good, at pretty good pace. Notice the dust, when you kick up the dust, it doesn't swirl around like down here in our atmosphere. It just flies out and lands again. I'm drilling one of 3 holes that are 3 meters deep. There's a little handheld electric drill. John's working on this station for the data and the power distribution. Unfortunately, he pulled one cable loose and we lost that experiment. This is the only short thing of the rover underway where you see the whole rover. I'm taking this with a movie camera. Now this is a camera, what it really looks like bouncing across the moon. I'm doing a penetrometer experiment. It went all the way into the moon unexpectedly, so now I'm down, and this is the get up technique on the moon. So you do a push up, and well, that didn't work. Let me try again. Almost. One more bounce, and you get up. And you can see the dust on the moon is very sticky for some reason, and so fine it got into the outside fabric of our suit, and we could not brush it off. Here I am, this is me with a rake. John's taking this sample. We sampled, every sample we collected, we put in a plastic bag that was numbered. And we told the mission control, okay, that's going in the bag 1500 or whatever it was. Here I am trying to select a sample all by myself, and not very successful. But I'm determined, and so I'm going to get that rock. So this time I flip it up slowly, and I catch it, but I dropped the bag I was putting it in. So, but we had a lot of bags, and so we could bother bending over. You couldn't bend over and pick up a bag. One of the larger rocks we saw up on the moon, but the biggest one was larger than this room. From floor to half of this room, it was about that high, but it was about 3 times the height of the ceiling. We called it House Rock. We left a car up there. Well, now here comes my most embarrassing moment. Not embarrassing, but scary moment. That's me, and I'm setting a high jump record on the moon. Unfortunately, you see, I fell over. And if I fell wrong and the backpack life support system hit wrong, I was dead. So panic is a killer, but fear is not if you don't panic. So I had this thought, roll right, and I rolled right and broke my fall, and everything held together, and so I'm here tonight because of that great suit that held the impact of that fall. I left a picture of my family up on the moon. One of the last acts that I did. We have 2 sons, now grown, and 9 grandchildren from those 2 boys. We left the car up there, so if you want an $8 million car with a dead battery, there are 3 of them up there. You can go collect one if you like. It took about 7 minutes to get back into space, and then we had about another hour that it took to rendezvous with Manning. So at a very high speed, here's the rendezvous. Here we are. That's all that's left of the lunar module. We joined up. We leave that in lunar orbit, and we start our journey home. And we hit the atmosphere at over 40,000 kilometers per hour. it was fireball outside, very hot, and it encased the spacecraft. Temperature inside was about 25 degrees, but outside, I don't know what 5,000 degrees centigrade, Fahrenheit is, but it was really hot. And by about 30,000 meters, we were coming straight down, and the fireball is dissipating, and at 7,000 meters, the parachute sequence starts. And it's an automatic system that has a barometer pressure, and it deploys what was called the drogue chute. And the role of the drogue chute was to make sure that the heat shield was hanging down, and the parachutes that were on the top were up on the top, so that when they came out, they weren't going to get tangled up. So the parachutes, the main parachutes start deploying at about 3,000 meters. And in Apollo, we had 3 of these. You can see a helicopter fly by, so we were talking to the helicopter and the ship. We were almost dead on of our landing spot. Apollo was called Splashdown, which was really not right. It was crash down, really. We hit the water very, very hard. You can see how rough the seas were, and that splash, and this parachute on the left stayed inflated and flipped us over upside down. So the hatch is underwater, and so we had to get it right side up, and we did that with a set of balloons that were underwater. We turned on this little pump, and so the spacecraft righted itself. We did not have to go into quarantine because there were no deadly moon bugs up there. So no life-threatening things from outer space, at least not from the moon, and so we didn't have to go into quarantine like the first 3 landings did. So